Hello everybody, welcome to this video lecture. In this video, we are going to learn about William Congreve. He was a very popular playwright and he lived in England around 300 years ago. And his specialty was writing comedies, and he is a comedy playwright. And his comedies made fun of rich upper class society. And he is considered one of the greatest writers of what is called the comedy of manners, a genre of plays, comedy plays that mock the behavior of rich, fashionable upper class society. So keep in mind this phrase, comedy of manners. Let's talk about the early life and education of William Congreve. William Congreve was born on January 24, 1670 in Yorkshire, England. His family moved to Ireland when he was a young boy, and he grew up his life and he was brought up in Ireland only. He studied in Kilkenny School and there at Trinity College, Dublin. And he enrolled to study law, but just like how the engineer students in India, especially now, and they join engineering course, but end up becoming the writer, directors, and comedians instead of engineers. Congreve also, and he gave up the law and he turned to be a fully literary man. And his college years were very important because there he met other very literary popular people like Jonathan Swift, and their friendship only pushed him to think deeply and write well. So actually education did not make Congreve a lawyer, it made him a playwright only. The literary career of William Congreve is very interesting. Now let us understand the time period he was writing it, because it explains everything. Before Congreve time, it was a Puritan age in England. Puritan time, in England, theatres were completely closed. They were shut down by the government for nearly 20 years. No play, no performance, nothing happened. Then King Charles II, and he emerged as a king, and he came to power the year 1660. So theatres were allowed to open again, and audience were very excited. They came rushing back. They were hungry for entertainment. They are all, maybe they wanted to watch plays at theatres. So this period is called the Restoration Age, meaning that everything was restored and brought back. And Congreve wrote plays during this restoration period only. So the audience during that time were mostly upper caste educated people. The plays enjoyed were clever, witty, and full of sharp dialogue. So no loud slapstick comedy, intelligent, sophisticated comedy only people maybe enjoy. We know that in theatre there is a class, B class audience, C class audience. C class audience, they'll enjoy something like comedy like Vadivelu. It is a slapstick comedy. But A class audience, A center audience, they like that comedy of Vivek. The same thing happened during the Restoration period in England also. So his plays quickly become very popular because his characters talk in a way that was extremely sharp and entertaining. And all the entertainment he was quietly making fun of how these rich people actually behaved. Actually Congreve, and he satirizes that the manners of upper class society through gentle satire only. The major plays, the contributions of William Congreve to English theatre. Congreve wrote actually only 5 plays in his career. That's a very small number actually when compared to other playwrights during Elizabethan time, Shakespeare, Ben Jonson. This was very small a number, but each one of the plays is considered excellent. They are a gem in nature. The Old Bachelor, that was published the year 1693. This is a debut play by William Congreve. It was an immediately successful play. It gives spotlight, maybe this publications, this play only gave spotlight to William Congreve. The Double Deal that was published the year 1693, it was also published the same year. It is a darker or more complicated play. Love for Love, published the year 1695. It was very popular with the audience. A most successful plays of William Congreve. The Mourning Bride, it was published the year 1697. This is the only tragedy. Please make a note of it. The Mourning Bride is the tragedy by William Congreve. William Congreve is a very popular comedy playwright only, but The Mourning Bride is his tragedy. It's the only tragedy written by William Congreve. It's a very serious play, but it is not a comedy. The Way of the World, it was published the year 1700, his last and greatest play. This was the last play and one of the masterpiece by William Congreve. 5 plays, that's it. After 1700, he never wrote another play. He was only 30 years old when he stopped. So we'll talk about The Way of the World. This is his most important play. So let's learn something more about this play. The Way of the World, it is the story, the play centers on a man named Mirabell and the woman named Millamant. So the protagonist of the play, the central characters of the play is Mirabell and Millamant. So they love each other, but the central problem is Millamant's inheritance money is controlled by her aunt. The lady's properties, money is controlled by her aunt. And the aunt does not approve of Mirabell the man. So Mirabell has to scheme and plan to win both Millamant and that money also. Now you understand the plot. So love plus money plus scheming. So this is the maybe the play's simple knot. So the most famous part of the play is that in the play there is a scene where Mirabell and the Millamant sit down and literally they negotiate in terms of maybe the terms of their marriage. And the girl says, I will marry you, but here are my conditions. I want my own space. I want to be treated as an individual, not just a wife. I don't want you to control every aspect of life. So very interesting point. Remember that a woman in 300 years ago, maybe a woman in 1700 demanding equal treatment in marriage. That was a radical thinking for that time. So that is why the play is still studied and performed today. So the ideas are still relevant. Okay, so one more interesting point. When the play was first performed in the year 1700, audience did not fully appreciate it. They found it too complex. So it becomes recognized, it becomes successful only, it becomes masterpiece much later time only. So that happens a lot with the great works. For example, if we'll move to that movie, Ayirathil Oruvan. I hope you all know that movie. That movie, when it was first released, it is not a successful movie. It was not critically also well acclaimed. But years later, during the re-release time, 10 years later, this film is considered one of the greatest masterpiece of the Tamil industry. So the same thing happened to this play, The Way of the World also. So themes. General themes in Congreve's plays. So what Congreve was really saying through his plays. Okay, the first major theme dealt by William Congreve is love and money together. So in Congreve plays, love and money are always mixed together. Characters do not just fall in love, they calculate. They think about what the other person is worthy financially. So marriage is treated as both an emotional and financial deal. Really, it's a very strange thing. So think about how even many arranged marriages in India involved detailed discussions about salary, property, family assets. So Congreve was reflecting the same reality just in 1700 England. So love and money were never fully separate. and he showed that honestly. And this theme is presented in, this idea is presented in his plays. The second theme dealt by William Congreve is deception and scheming, plotting. Almost every character in Congreve hides their real intention. They pretend, they manipulate, they use clever words to mislead others. Then next theme is social rules and appearance. The upper class characters in all his plays are obsessed with how they appear to others. What people think of them matters more than what they actually feel. So we see this in real life too. People spend, even in that modern time, the Insta world, the people, they spend money on weddings, not for themselves, but because what that neighborhood will think. So people will take loans to buy cars, maybe in generations, those who are working in IT industries, they'll buy loans and buy cars, buy stuff, maybe just for social pressures. So it is considered as the prestige of the time. Congreve was pointing at the same human weakness. Okay. The next theme dealt by Congreve is women with intelligence and agencies. Congreve portrayed women as an empowered individual humans. This is not. Maybe it's very strange in those times. 300 years back, even in Western countries, England, this is not that happening naturally. So this is an important theme, and it is worth saying very clearly also. In Congreve plays, women are not a very submissive one. They are not weak. They are not passive. They are a very clever, assertive females, and they are fully capable of holding their own worth against the men. For example, the play The Way of the World, Millamant is the very best example. She knows exactly what she wants, and she clearly defines her wishes also. Yes. So for 1700, this was very modern way to write female characters, and it is one of the reasons Congreve plays are still feel relevant today. So characteristics of Congreve writings, maybe the touch of Congreve. Okay, so wit and dialogue. His characters talk in a way that is extremely sharp and clever. Conversation, dialogues are extremely sharp and clever. Remember these two words, it's very sharp and intelligence also. Every line has a point to it. And when two characters argue, when two characters flirt or speak, it is like watching a verbal chess match. It's a verbal match, and each person trying to outsmart the other with their words. It's like a word quarrel, and very interesting to watch also. The next is realistic social observations. Even though his plays were comedies, what he is described is real. The event, the situation, the scenario, the characters, their manners, everything is real of that Restoration England. The social pressures, the financial anxieties, the need to maintain reputations, all of it's drawn from that actual life. These themes were dealt by William Congreve, the social pressures of the characters, the financial anxieties. That's why they would like to choose a partners with well-settled one, and the need to maintain their social reputations. All these themes were taken from the actual life only, and he is not exaggerating widely. He is simply holding a mirror up and letting the audience see themselves. This is not exaggeration portrayal of their life. It's very closely, truthfully mirrors of the Restoration England only. And another important features of Congreve style is strong female characters. Really, it is very important thing to note it. So I have repeating the point, because it is one of the most remarkable thing about his writing. At a time when a woman had a very little power in society, 100 years back during Elizabethan time, women are not permitted to act in the stage. They could not socially act. So in those time, Congreve wrote women with agencies. Congreve wrote women with clear distinction, clear ideas. Congreve wrote female characters and who are the smartest people in the room. So that is a deliberate, a conscious choice. It is not a maybe unconscious or a random thing. Congreve willingly, deliberately, and he chose this choice. He saw women as equals and it shows in his writing. So whether women are treated, women are equal, women are not naturally presented in the same way in literatures, but Congreve and he realized the potential of the women, though women are not fully permitted to function in the society, and through his writings and he gives space women. And then the language, very careful, precise language is one of the important thing to be noted. Congreve did not waste words. Every sentence is carefully constructed. So this is the reason his famous lines have survived 300 years later and are still quoted today also. Like Shakespeare and Pope, Tennyson, William Congreve's lines from this comedy are still quoted. So what is William Congreve's contribution to Restoration drama? And he lived in the period of Restoration time. And what is his contribution to Restoration drama? We will see in this slide. The comedy of manner, it is a genre that existed before William Congreve. But Congreve is the man and he took the genre and he perfected it. And he raised the standard so high that no one who came after him fully matched him in this particular style of writing, and he becomes that maybe unrivaled monarch. He reached the height of this genre. Still now nobody is able to beat him to perfectly produce a comedy in the particular genre named comedy of manners. Before Congreve, and people might have thought comedy was a lower form of literature. It is not serious, it is a less serious and less important than tragedy. From Aristotle time onwards, tragedy is highly considered as a very serious form of literature. Congreve proved that this statement was wrong. He showed that comedy could carry serious ideas about society, relationships and human nature. So this is his important contributions to Restoration drama, and he popularized comedies and he made comedy of manner a very interesting genre. So the later life of William Congreve. So after the play The Way of the World in the year 1700, Congreve stopped writing plays and he was just 30 years old only at that time. Why did he stop? Maybe scholars are their argument is that it is not very clear actually. The play received a mixed response from the audience. They maybe respected it but did not enthusiastically embrace it. Actually, I have mentioned priorly also, at the time of the staging, the play is not welcomed by audience. So some believe that Congreve felt misunderstood and was disappointed, frustrated at the failure of this play. Maybe some others, they think that he simply found comfort and maybe he had a job in government jobs and he had taken up and had financial need, that he had no financial need to keep writing. That's why he stopped writing. But everything is a conspiracy only, that we don't have evidence for all these arguments. But whatever the reason, he spent the rest of the life very comfortably and in a good social circles, and he maintained friendships with other important writers and thinkers of the time, including Jonathan Swift. And he died in the year maybe on January 19, 1729 in London, and he was buried in Westminster Abbey, the same place where British kings, queens and the most honored figures in British history are buried, like our Marina. So I would like to recall a famous words of William Congreve. So William Congreve wrote many lines that survived 300 years and are still used in everyday language today. Music has charms to soothe a savage breast. So the meaning of this quote is, music has the power to calm even the most violent and troubled heart. It is very sure only. Today also everybody they listen to melodies of Ilayaraja, maybe Beethoven, just to get comfort from that stressed life only. Okay. The second quotation is, heaven has no rage like love to hatred turn, nor hell a fury like a woman's scorned. I'll repeat once again. Heaven has no rage like love to hatred turn, nor hell a fury like woman's scorned. Okay. Actually, the meaning of the quote is, when a woman is humiliated by someone she loved, and the anger that comes from the woman is that the most powerful force, and it could be unimaginable force. Okay, it is very, very powerful. So these quotes are well known, well popular of William Congreve. So though Congreve wrote only 5 plays, those 5 plays are enough to place him among the greatest playwright in English literary history. So he proved that comedy is a very serious literature, and further he proved that social criticisms can be delivered with laughter. And he established the idea that female characters deserve intelligence and dignity. And he proved precise, brilliant language is its own form of art. The Way of the World is still performed on stage everywhere in Europe, especially in London, and students at universities around the world still study, and the argument between Millamant makes about marriage and the individual freedom, they still sound modern because they are more modern ideas and stated clearly for the first time 300 years ago. So this is the legacy of William Congreve. Thank you very much.